What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to A Certain Point of View, our Schmodown podcast, where it is our point of view of the movie Trivia Schmodown. My name is Jake Berlin, and I am your host today, as usual, and I am joined today by my regular co-host, Mr. Brian Avlicino. How you doing over there, man?
Good. Ready to get into this Star Wars tournament?
Yeah.
Quite possibly one of the most up-in-the-air tournaments we had in a while.
Very true. Very exciting time for the Schmodown, and we have a really cool show today. As we've been teasing the last couple of days on our shows and social media, we are joined today by Mr. Ace Cabrera. And before we get to that, here in just a little bit, the Schmodown Star Wars tournament, the first of its kind. Obviously, we've had the IG tournament in the past, and we've had some really cool big Star Wars play in the past. But this is the first of its kind for the division, and the first of its kind on Twitch, which I'm sure we'll get into. So it's a couple milestones for the Schmodown, which is really, really cool.
Yeah, I mean, people were up in arms. We know about the jump to Twitch, but I don't think really anyone cares anymore at this point because
it went so well.
It went well, and once us grumpy old people that don't like change figured out, oh, it's really not that bad, and it went really well.
That's very true. Well, before we get into too much conversation on it, because we do want to talk to our guest about all this stuff, we do have Mr. Ace Cabrera joining us. How you doing over there, man?
What is up, guys? How's it going?
Good. It's good. Glad to have you on the show. We were psyched to. It kind of worked out perfect storm, you know. Obviously, spoiler, you had won the play-in match, and so it kind of worked out perfectly to get you on this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it would have been a lot worse if I lost, right? I mean, that's a whole different vibe.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely happy I won. At least there's that.
Yeah. Well, before we get into your match, we always ask our guest a question, and it's just simply why the Schmodown? Why is the Schmodown so special to you, or in general, or what is it about the Schmodown that attracts you the most to it?
Oh, that's such an interesting question. I mean, obviously, I've been with the Schmoes
for so long.
For so long, yeah. Back in January of 2015, I believe, is when I officially joined on the team. So I was there when they were kind of doing it for fun, and it was more of a, after the show, or like a kind of like a third segment kind of thing, where second hour come back because we're gonna do the Schmodown.
Yeah.
I was there for that, so that's kind of what got me into it, to be honest. What kind of got me into it in the sense of like, now I want to win. Is definitely the whole faction vibe and the whole system they have there with the draft and with Winston, with Chandru, who have been nothing but supportive throughout this time.
Yeah, we love what Winston is doing as far as swag. Like every week we talk, every time there's a match that comes up with swag, we just rave about Winston and him as a manager. It's cool that you mentioned the second half of the Schmoes No Show, and I'm sure Brian was about to mention this, but he is actually rewatching this first season for the very first time. So he's actually in the midst of that second half of the Schmoes No Show as we speak. And if I'm not mistaken, Brian, his match was just one of the most recent ones you watched, right?
The last one we talked about was your 3v2 match.
Yeah, handicap match.
Yeah, that was literally the last one I think I watched was that one.
Yeah.
So it just kind of worked out perfectly.
Every time someone mentions me, I don't know what I was listening to that someone mentioned me where they were like, well, Ace has a ton of experience. And I'm like, I did one handicap match against Dan Merle and Mark Riley. I didn't see it as anything else but like, hey, this is going to be fun and funny because we're like a throwaway match for them. And we dressed up as dinosaurs, or at least we tried to.
Yes. And you killed Makuga.
Oh, yeah, we killed Makuga. That was great.
Such a good opening. One of the better entrances we'll ever see in the Schmodown, for sure.
Yeah. So what is it like just knowing that you've been around for so long, going from that, the dinosaurs and stuff like that, to where it is now? Just is it just completely mind-blowing to see the change it has become from there to then?
Oh, yeah. I mean, obviously, I've seen the way it's grown. I've been to match tapings, and I've seen how they're doing it now. And obviously, it's always been a lot of fun. People going hard at the entrances, people taking it super seriously, like Roka. Yeah, it's intense. Like when you're backstage, it's actually really interesting because I was there back when it was just, this is for fun. And now it's like an actual competition show, which is it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it must be really cool from your perspective from the very beginning to now, just like, Cody and Cobster and all those guys too, just for being from the very beginning. Yeah, I mean, let's get right into this Star Wars match, because this was one of the most hyped matches we've had all year, specifically because of everything going on in the world, right? It's the first kind of real Schmoedown match we're getting in a while. First one on Twitch. It's the debut of the Star Wars tournament. Before we get into the match itself, I know that you talked a little bit in the past about your preparation and kind of lead up to it. Can you speak any further on like your excitement or maybe nerves going into the match and in fact being on Twitch as well?
Yeah, all of that excitement and nerves. I felt it all because I did feel like that Robert Parker match was so rough that I really have to showcase something different, and I have to at least win. My mentality was like win, 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 win. And the type of notes that I started to take, I wanted to get a little bit deeper because my plan was like I had a schedule of like I'm going to watch all the Star Wars films and I'm going to break down every frame basically. I wasn't able to do that before this match. Hopefully I can do that before Ken's match. But yeah, the kind of notes I started to take was pretty crazy. So I was like, okay, I think I'm ready. I think I can do this. And yeah, again, everything I said after the match too, like this was more about me kind of holding my own and pulling my weight for the faction as well. Because obviously Chandro keeps getting wins and Winston drafted me. So it's not like he, randomly got, someone threw him at me. No, it's like he actually went out of his way and drafted me, even though it was the last round. But still, I was like, I did that Jurassic Park thing with Cody and that was it. That's his point of reference for me. So it's not like I have a lot of background when it comes to that. So yeah, that's the pressure I put on myself. And obviously Star Wars is something that I love. So I wanted to win for a lot of reasons.
Mm-hmm.
So note taking is kind of key for you to get through. Yeah.
Yeah. Note taking, a ton of notes, like even just writing down because I've noticed a couple questions are like, what does so-and-so call so-and-so, or quotes. I want to become really good at quotes. Like when I can quote the movie.
That's a hard one.
Verbatim. And I think I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good at it in general. Which is why I'm hoping that can help me in Ken's match, because I think he said that he's not good at that, and that's actually something I'm good at. When Chandra and I were talking about it, he told me, he's like, hey, are you good at who said it? And I'm like, actually, I think that's probably one of my stronger categories, the who said it kind of thing, and I'm actually really good at it. So I'm making it a point to write down verbatim quotes just in case they ask me that.
Yeah, so have you always been into the note taking, or did that come after Parker?
It came after Parker, if I'm being honest. Yeah, I mean, when I prepped for Parker, I had very little prep time, to be honest. And I was like, okay, I have maybe one or two franchises that I can watch that can binge real quick. I was working, so it was kind of hard to do that too. Yeah. So yes, I wasn't taking notes. I was just like, oh yeah, I'll rewatch the Harry Potter movies, and apparently that didn't work. Which again, like I still can't get over that, because again, all the Horcruxes, literally everyone's Patronus. I know literally the most random person's Patronus. I was like, these are the kind of questions they ask, and nope, no Horcrux, no Patronus, nothing. So that didn't help out. So the note taking was something that I wanted to make it a point. Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely worked. We can get right into it. I mean, it came out, and like I mentioned, the hype for it, and we didn't know what we were going to expect, because it was your debut in the Star Wars. It was Josh's debut in the Star Wars as well, and the Schmoedown in general. But you guys both came out swinging 11 for 11 in the first round, and that must have felt incredible, just, hearing those questions, getting a feel for the game over Twitch especially, and going 11 for 11 and kind of just having that weight lift off your shoulders.
Yes, I definitely wanted to get a perfect round, because I know that 2 points would be killer if he can get 2 points over me. So that was kind of my goal, is to get a perfect round and to make sure to listen to every question. There's actually a few moments in the first round, if you go back and watch, where my face just gets scrunched up. That's me, because I couldn't fully listen to the question, and that's kind of my bad, but a good thing I got them all right anyway. But there was a few moments where I was like, did he say, oh crap, what movie was that? And I was like, I think it's this, but yeah, that first round was huge. And obviously all of them were, I know a lot of people have talked about it. Well, I don't know if a lot of people have talked about it, but I thought those questions were like, I was like, okay, this is this is not what I studied for.
Yeah.
I studied for like blasters. Like I memorized people's blasters and ships, and I'm like, okay, I think I can name a few of these questions.
That's what I was going to ask you too. If you thought that the first round was more difficult or seemed to be a little. I mean, we went like 10 of 11 or 9 of 11.
The one we missed was the wizard question from episode 1. I don't know. It never would have crossed my mind, and I'm surprised both you guys got it because it's something that never just appeared to me.
And it's a quote, right? So it technically is a little tougher.
True.
It could be a 2-pointer. Yeah,
that is true. Yeah, and so when we sat back and we were talking to each other, we're like, wait a second. Is this the first time we've ever gotten this close to a perfect round in a Star Wars match? And so we wanted to ask, like, because a lot of people have been talking about it. Did you feel they were much more surface level, kind of like leading you guys into a second round or something a little bit down the road?
Yes. If I'm being honest, yes. Obviously nothing against the question writer or anybody, but yeah, I did. I was like, okay, this is pretty easy. This is not what I prepped for. I prepped for much, much tougher stuff. Which eventually I did get in the second round. So there you go.
I told Jake, I think personally it might have been, since it was the consolation or not consolation, the play-in round, that it might have been like a little bit easier to.
I'm so curious. Yeah, I'm so curious to watch Sean and Laura's match. Obviously, that's coming up. Yeah. Because of that first round. But for the most part, I've gone back and rewatched Star Wars matches. And for the most part, they're all, I mean, at least to me, they're kind of easy. I don't know for anyone else, but to me, they've always been like first round have always been kind of not that hard questions. It's usually second round they get a little deeper. But yes, I did notice that they were like, oh, yeah, Alan Tudyk plays K2. They're not asking about the other droid in the background. So, yeah, I did notice that. Okay, yeah, and it could be the play-in because who knows once the tournament starts. But
yeah, that and we have 8 weeks of matches coming up, and they got to make sure they spread out the questions evenly, and so it totally makes sense. And even the last couple months with the exhibition matches, we've talked about it multiple times how great the writers have done with questions, and I have no doubt that it was the same case for this one because that led in right into a round 2 where it was kind of a little bit of a struggle for it kind of flipped on its head a little bit, starting with Josh, and I think. Even though the questions to some people may have been a little simpler, to others a little harder. For him, it just felt like some of the gameplay was a little bit of the harder aspect. And I know you only have like 2 official matches under your belt, but I'm sure Winston has like nailed into your head about the gameplay, especially over something like Twitch, because they can't stand there, in person to help you. And so we were obviously baffled at him not going for multiple choice or anything like that. And I'm sure you felt the same way on the other side of the Twitch stream.
Oh, I was excited.
That's true. That's very true. Very true.
I was so happy he didn't. And obviously, if you watch my second round too, I messed up a few times too. And I heard it from my faction members. Shout out to Paul Oyama and Chandru, who both called me out. And they were like, dude, if you went to multiple choice on a few of those second round ones, you could have got it right. I mean, obviously, specifically the Hosnian Prime one, I was like, oh, crap, that's a good point. I would have gotten that right because I obviously did know the answer. So I messed up there. I could have gotten a multiple choice, and that's my mistake. Again, that's me just trying to reach into my mind, thinking about, like, do they want to hear system? Because I know it's Hosnian. Trying to reach for that 2-pointer instead of settling for the 1. But yeah, I mean, obviously, I got all of Josh's right, except for the Moons one. Which I'm still mad about because I did know that one too. But I all his questions were pretty much, I nailed all those for me, the heroes and villains category.
I got to be honest, talking to you and also in the match, it seems like you really went hard on the deep cuts of Star Wars. Because the moon question, again, never would have crossed my mind that would have been the answer. And for you to know that kind of answer, I mean, that's kudos to you, man.
Yeah, I mean, I'm telling you, man, Attack of the Clones, there's like a line in Attack of the Clones and where in Dex's Diner, where he says, I was prospecting on the moves of Sub Terrell. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to know that now. Those are the kind of stuff that I know in my head. But they didn't ask about Dex's Diner. They asked about Jango Fett.
Yeah.
Gets me upset because I was like, Should have been Dexter Jester instead of the one they asked, but yeah.
So what did you think about the wheel, the new wheel? Are you a fan of it? Are you
specifically the line aspect of it?
Yeah,
the line aspect I think is changing. I think that's already been announced.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Christian said that somewhere.
Where they found there's like a little thing that.
Yeah, I think they're going to say that they're going to officially make that a category, because if that kept going, that would have been a little weird if anyone can just pick between two categories. I didn't mind it. I mean, obviously, it's a visual reference. You can see right away, and you can kind of cross your fingers and play along. So I don't mind it at all. The whole choosing category is going to change, so I don't think that's going to be an issue going forward.
Did it throw you off a little bit though, being like, "Oh, I get to choose"?
Well, I mean, when he got it in the moment, I don't know if you guys noticed, where I was like, "Wait a minute, he could pick." I questioned it with Josh, and then it happened to me, so I was like, "Okay." In the moment, because I was like, okay, I know The Force Awakens probably is slightly more, like a tid more than Return of the Jedi, even though I know Return of the Jedi pretty well. But I was like, if I can spin again and get another category that I really love, or a movie that's probably my strongest, I would hope for. But I was like, I'd rather just be safe. So that was kind of my thought process.
Yeah. So that shifts us into the round 3, and this is where the Key Mundi came up in the match, and obviously it was changed very quickly, and kudos to Christian and all the judges and everybody for quickly adjusting that. We can obviously see your face when the answer is said by Josh, and then Winston comes in as well. I know that you in the moment were like, oh, it's fine. I'm sure in the back of your head you're wondering like, okay, it's actually Ki-Adi Mundi. Or is this something that's actually going to happen after the match, or should this rule be adjusted during the Twitch stream? What was kind of going through your head at that moment?
Yeah, immediately I was like, should I challenge this? Was kind of my first thought, because I was like, wait a minute, I don't think he said that right. And then Winston came in and was talking about time, and it gave me a little bit more time to be like, yeah, I should challenge it, or at least bring it up. So obviously I did, and I was like, wait a minute, he said Ki Mundi, not Ki-Adi Mundi. And he just kind of threw it away as if it's like, if it sounds close enough, they'll get me the point. But I was like, wait a minute, I don't think that's correct.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was that whole thing. And I know a lot of people have talked about the challenge aspect of it, but again, you had to write challenge in the chat in order to be put on the screen. Was the way that Winston was told how to handle that.
Got it.
And he was just asking about the time. He was like, did he get it off on time? It wasn't I challenged, did officially challenge that he got it off. It was more him asking like, hey, did he get it off on time? He did? Okay. Well, what about that was kind of the
Got it. Okay. That makes a lot more sense coming from you, because we had debated that on we did a breakdown, and that's one of the bigger aspects we debated is whether or not he had 2 challenges or when he challenged it. So it's definitely good to kind of clear that up with you.
Yeah. It makes more sense when you break it down like that, because that was one thing we were like, was that his challenge, the asking if he got it in, or was it the one after it? So yeah, I guess that makes more sense. Plus, like we said, the whole entire thing was kind of like a trial almost. Yeah. So I mean, it kind of played and also played it,
but it worked really well. Like having it all over for the very first time, and obviously they've done the exhibitions, which is totally different, but live with however many 1,800 people watching, and that really being the only flaw that happened. I mean, that's awesome.
Yeah, no, I think it worked out really well. Obviously, the whole live aspect of it changes it a little bit, but at the same time, it flowed pretty freaking well, considering that we were live on Twitch in front of 1,800 people.
Yeah.
So I thought it worked out altogether really well.
Yeah, and so that challenge and the ruling that happened after the match was big for you guys, because it obviously gave you the TKO factor and put you guys in second place officially. That must feel pretty awesome to do that for Winston, do that for the team, especially after what happened with the Parker match and being your first time in the Star Wars match, and it being a tournament that means so much to the league right now. I'm sure that you just kind of took a deep breath and then just were like, wow, like I actually did this. I pulled this off for my team.
Yes, that's part of it. Obviously, the whole point aspect of it for me was the big, all right, at least I gave 3 points. But my thing was still like I missed way too many questions.
That's fair.
That was like my reaction. That's the first thing I told Winston when he called me up right after the match. was like, hey man, I miss way too many questions, and I know that the kind of people I'm playing in the future, whether it's Sean or whether it's Laura, even Ken, obviously Ken said afterwards he didn't miss any, and I was like, yeah, I should have not missed any. You know, there was a few moments where I was like, all right, I can get this, and then there was a few questions that I was like, I don't know if I like that. But yeah, my thing was like, all right, I'll take the win, but my God, I need to not miss. I want to have perfect matches every time.
Yeah. And how does it feel knowing that your next match is against Ken? Is it just like
former master?
Yeah. I mean, of all the people you get to go against next, it's him. Does that get you more excited, more competitive, more?
It's the best. It's the absolute best, obviously, because again, I know him so well, and obviously the Star Wars connection we have, whether it's Force Center or Jedi Council or anything else, just knowing him for so long and having that kind of banter that we have between each other, it just makes it even better because my head goes straight to promos. It should go straight to the match, but immediately I'm just like, oh man, what can I do for a promo? And to be honest, as soon as I saw that bracket and I saw that I was a play-in match and that he was the next one, that's immediately where I went. I was like, oh man, what can I do for a promo? Yeah, because I was going crazy in my ideas for my promo for Josh. And I had to tone it back actually because a few of the ones I recorded were a little too much. And I felt
you came in with some heat on that.
That's me toned down. Yeah, that's me like playing it cool because I was like, I don't really know Josh that well, but when it comes to someone I know, I'm gonna go as hard as I can go. So
yeah, and Ken always brings the fire, but it's even gonna be more so because he hasn't played in a while. And it's kind of just all been sitting there for, and obviously we saw the 7-minute video he released, and him having Robert Meyer Burnett on his side now is just going to be even worse. And so it's gonna be a fun promo set either way to see you two go up against each other. Definitely one of the matches to look forward to. But this week we have a big one too, and I wanted to get your take on this before we moved on. We have Laura Kelly and Sean Sullivan, two really, really great competitive players in this league. Laura Kelly obviously went with Alex Damon last year. Sean Sullivan showed up in his first match in very, very strongly. What do you think about this match? And if you want to say, who do you have in this match?
I don't know if I can say. If I'm being honest, it's such a toss-up, and I know that's such a cop-out of an answer, but it really is. Like almost out of any of the matches, I would even say almost out of any of the matches, because which one's the other side? The Adam Witt versus who again?
Adam Witt and Molly Damon.
And then DeMolanta and Screnshaw.
Here, I'll put it up. I got it right here. So this is the bracket. Here we go, right here. So Molly Damon and Adam Witt, Scrimshaw and DeMolanta, Kelly and Sullivan, and now you and Knapsack. I mean, all four of these are crazy good.
Yeah.
But I agree. I think that this one right here, the Laura Kelly,
is the tightest one, right?
Yes,
I think it has to be the most evenly matched one out of all of them is Laura Kelly and Sean Sullivan. I'm excited for either one, to be honest. Obviously, Sean has been really nice to me. So part of me is like, go Sean. But I haven't had the pleasure of meeting Laura or interacting with her yet. So, but I've seen her matches, so I know she knows her stuff. It's going to be crazy. I think it's going to be a perfect match for both of them. And I think it'll go to sudden death, if I'm being honest.
That'd be awesome.
I think that's what's going to happen.
Cool. That'd be so cool.
I have a feeling that we could see that more than once too.
Yeah, I mean, they're all really like the Scrimshaw DeMolanta one could go for ages. Like that one can go for so long, and we know what Molly Damon and Adam Witt know as well. But I agree. I think this one is definitely the tightest. And if it's ending like their Twitter threads and the back and forth that's been going in the last couple of days, it's definitely going to be a firework of a match.
Yeah, I'm so excited for this one. Obviously, for reasons as far as like playing along and just being a fan, just watching these two go at it would be amazing.
Yeah, I think it's.
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, I think it's also a little scary because we don't fully know what people are capable of with Star Wars unless it's Damon. Like Damon, it's just everything. But like, I mean, that one's going to be close because we've only seen a single match from each of them for the most part. I think
Laura Kelly's played in two, I believe.
Two, yeah,
two. Okay,
so I think everybody in the brackets except for Ken and Scrimshaw have 2 or fewer matches in Star Wars. A couple have 0. So it's definitely a newer. It's like playing that rookie newer player against the older vets, and Kelly and Sullivan, two of the younger ones who are kind of new in this. It's really a toss up, man.
I'm so excited. I can't wait. Just being a fan is just I literally cannot wait.
I would give anything to be one of a fly on the wall of the managers that are matched with like Winston and Robert Meyer Burnett in the same little chat room together. I can only imagine, or Kate with Shannon. Like it's going to be, and people are talking some mad, you know what, for their Star Wars competitors. Probably more than I've seen in a while.
This has been great for the Schmodown in 2020 for sure.
Yeah, I'm excited to kind of further that train because, again, you don't even know, being someone like me personally who's not been in the community for that long as much as other people have, talking smack is always something you're like, oh, should I? But now that, again, I know who I'm playing, and now that it's kind of celebrated between every competitor, whether you're a face or heel, I'm just excited to just take it to the next level and just talk all the smack. Even though, like, I'm not like the most braggy, confident kind of guy, I still want to do it just to kind of be a part of the Schmodown and to just further dive deeper into it.
Well, that's awesome. Winston's got that crown right now for the trash talk with that L.
Yes.
The
L was amazing. Oh my God, the L was amazing.
Yeah, that might be one of the best ever that I've ever seen.
Yeah, he's been fun to watch, and being a first-time manager and him picking it up so quickly, it's definitely been fun. All right, well, before we move on to maybe something like the meaning of or something like that, we have, like we mentioned up top, we have the rapid-fire questions for you, and it is all Star Wars related for you. Brian and I are gonna ask one at a time, and we have, I don't know, it's about 10 or so.
They're not questions about like Star Wars. They're just like your favorites.
It's so example like the first one.
Yeah,
the title of it. What's your favorite Star Wars? ... And we're just gonna go through a couple categories, and you're gonna reveal them, and we'll go one at a time. So
we're not gonna give you Schmodown quiz. In the middle of it.
First one's very simple. Favorite Star Wars movie.
This is actually not that simple. Okay. I know this is rapid fire. Sorry, guys.
No, you're good. You're good.
It's fine.
Really quick. These are all going to be hard for me. If you've ever seen Jedi Council, you know who I am as a Star Wars fan, where I love quite a few things, not just one thing. I'm going to say New Hope.
Nice. Yes. What is it battle with, if I may ask that?
Return of the Jedi.
Nice.
Oh, awesome. Okay.
Yeah, I know. Oh, Empire Strikes Back. They're coming at me already.
Brian?
I don't have it in front of me. Go ahead. You put next one.
Favorite series?
Series as in?
Rebels, Clone Wars, Mandalorian.
Oh, as in TV show. Okay, got it.
Yes.
I'm going to say Clone Wars.
Nice.
Clone Wars, fair. Yeah. Even though Rebels is like this much behind. I love Rebels.
Rebels is good. Favorite video game of Star Wars?
If you play
them.
I mean, obviously, I'm playing it now. I love Battlefront, and I love Battlefront 2. I also love that old school, I think it was PS2 pod racing game that I used to play all the time.
Yeah.
The one that they're releasing?
Yeah.
They're releasing it.
Really?
Yeah, they're gonna re-update the visuals and everything.
Wow. Yeah, that's what made me memorize like all the pod racers, which I have to do again now.
Great.
I forgot them all. But yeah, Battlefront and the pod racing game.
Okay. Favorite book?
Ooh, I'm gonna name a recent one. I love Queen's Shadow. I'm a massive Padme guy. I think Padme is one of the best Star Wars characters ever, and I think Queen's Shadow kind of talks about the nitty-gritty political aspect of what it took to make Padme and to make her one of the best Star Wars characters. And I love any backstory that we get inside of her. So,
how excited are you for the sequel?
Yeah, Queen's Peril next month, isn't it?
Yeah. So excited, man. But again, these are the things that I'm like, I'm so behind on books. Like I still have to read
Yep.
I still have to read The Ballad of Songbirds and The Ballad of Snakes and Songbirds. Because I'm a massive Hunger Games guy, which is something that a lot of people don't know.
List right here.
Love Hunger Games, but it's all this book stuff that I'm postponing after the Star Wars tournament.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Now this one's going to probably be the worst one. And favorite character?
Yeah. So it's Obi-Wan Kenobi. If I'm being honest, it's Obi-Wan, and it's Obi-Wan in every aspect, which is why he's my favorite. Obi-Wan in the prequels, Obi-Wan in A New Hope, Obi-Wan in the Clone Wars is a badass. Yeah. Like this is why he's my favorite, because he is that classic, British, very suave, calm, wise man, but at the same time, he's one of the strongest, most physically capable Jedi of all time. So I love Obi-Wan.
Fair enough.
Favorite species?
Ooh. Oh man, I can name a lot. Obviously I love the Wookiees. I'm going to say Wookiees. Why not?
Okay, cool. That's fair. Favorite planet?
So this is another toss-up for me, but it's always been Coruscant, and it will probably always be Coruscant. I love Coruscant. It's closely followed by Naboo, and there you go with my prequel there. But Coruscant and Naboo is right there.
We got to see Coruscant back in action in live action someday.
Right?
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. Favorite faction?
Faction as in the Schmodown?
That'd be swag. Favorite group, like a Jedi or Mandalorians or something.
Got it. Yeah, I'm partial to the Jedi.
As most of us are.
Bounty hunters are fun, though. Bounty hunters are fun.
That's a good one too.
That's a good one.
Well, I think we might know the answer to this one. Your favorite era?
As in the Skywalker
Star Wars.
Yes.
Yeah.
Man, it's actually tougher than people think. Because I love all three, if I'm being honest.
Mm-hmm.
I love the sequels too. I like a lot, probably more than most people. Yeah, I'm gonna give love to my prequels, man. Why not? Okay. I love the prequels.
Fair. All right, last one. Favorite lightsaber color?
Favorite lightsaber color. So the way you asked this question, this is again me being a nerd.
You're good.
As in like the one I would want to have, or as in like the one I
How about both?
You know what? Maybe it's just because the Rise of Skywalker is inside of me, and inside of my heart. But I'm really partial, and obviously shout out to Rebels, which also has yellow lightsaber. I think if I was at Galaxy's Edge, let's just say this, and I had to pay $200, which I think I will do.
It's sitting right there.
Yeah, I think I would get a yellow one.
The yellow crystal sitting inside of it.
No way! I think that's mine, dude. So we have the same one.
That's awesome. Hey, that is. There's nothing wrong with saying that. That was a close one for me. I'm partial to green because I like Qui-Gon. Ahsoka, but I threw around yellow, but my reasoning was we just haven't seen enough of it. Like I want to see it in action, and I hope one day we are able to see that.
Yeah, and when I play Battlefront 2 and I play as Rey, and I swing around my yellow lightsaber, I'm just like, this is the coolest thing. I have a Switch. This is so cool.
Awesome. That's awesome. Well, Ace, we can't thank you enough for joining us today, man. This has been a blast talking your match and getting to know you a little bit more on a Star Wars personal level. But before we get you out of here, we want to let you have the floor to talk about the meaning of, or anywhere people can find you. Like if people have never watched the meaning of, or the channel First Cut, what it is about that channel that can kind of attract them to check you guys out, you, RB3, and Sabrina.
Yeah, thank you so much, man. I appreciate that. The Meaning Of is a podcast where we talk about usually directors, and sometimes we talk about franchises as well. And we do that every week. So this next week, I believe we have this week we have Roka coming on. So there you go. There's a huge guest.
There you go.
Yeah, that's a big guest for us. We also have Josh Trank coming on the show,
which is week. I was going to mention. That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's so cool.
Yeah, so obviously we talk about that. We also do movie reviews. We also do discussions on other types of movies. Just a channel where we celebrate film and our love of film, and we try to focus on usually indie movies is kind of our vibe. But yeah, subscribe to First Cut. That's our channel. It's me, RB3, and Sabrina. We've been doing that now for a couple of years, so it's a lot of fun, and I hope that everyone checks it out.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Well, again, thank you so much for joining us, and we look forward to your match here in a couple of weeks, and hopefully it turns out to a point where we can have you back on in winning fashion.
In winning fashion, man. That's my mentality. Is like I'm gonna be on after shows. I have to win.
Yeah, very true. Well, Well, have a good Sunday and have a good Memorial Day, and hopefully we'll talk to you soon.
Sounds good, guys. Thank you so much, Jake, Brian. Have a good Sunday, guys. I appreciate
Awesome,
you.
man. Thanks again, man.
Thank you, man.
All right, Brian. Well, there it is. Ace Cabrera for swag for Winston. Let me
One
throw
of the
our
nicest guys you'll ever talk
yeah. Let's
to.
throw our overlay back up here quickly, and I'll put us back in old fashioned. Let's zoom out.
Holy moly!
Zoom out. We're doing this live. Oh no. Oh no. Hey, look, that was I gotta change mine a little
I'm
bit.
gonna scoot back.
Camera's all adjusted for the other overlay. No, I'm so happy we were able to get him because he's such a humble guy who really just he wants to prove himself in the Schmodown on what he knows as far as Schmodown knowledge, and it's really worked out in his favor because we saw what he was capable of in the Star Wars match. Obviously, I have no doubt he's able to do that in the IG as well. After IG is difficult, like it is, and when you're facing someone,
both
when
of them,
facing,
Star Wars,
yeah,
and
that's very true. But when you're facing someone who's talked about constantly with Parker, like it obviously plays a little bit into it. But he showed up big time in Star Wars. You can tell that he's a lot more focused than he was before, and that IG match helped him big time. But what a great conversation! Like that was an absolute blast.
Yeah, I mean, I hate even using the IG match as something to compare because there's nothing like Robert Parker right now, really. There's it's like he's
the favorite for the tournament up against Kalinowski.
I know.
Crazy.
There's like a pedestal that he's kind of just like standing on his own right now. So and it was his debut.
Yeah. So
he was going to make sure he lived up to that name. So you could have thrown anyone in his way and it probably would have been a steamroll. So I'm really happy that Ace went in because that now puts the IG match away.
100%.
And
100%.
Especially since he went 11 for 11 in that first round. He's not some scrub player that is just there to play. He got put up against a freaking wrecking ball at the beginning of the season, and anyone was going to get taken out at that point. He's a competitor, and this match showed it. And he is not someone to sleep on because, even just while talking to him, I was like, dude knows his stuff. And if he's studying what he's actually saying he's studying, that's scary stuff to to know. So, and he's going to come out swinging against Ken. You're going against your master, essentially. You don't want to. Not only are you showing yourself, but it's kind of a reflection on Ken too, in the smallest of ways. So I'm very, very glad his match turned out the way it did because that's probably how he would be 99% of the time. It's nice.
I'm with you. I'm 100% with you. And I think that it's like that when you play sports, whether you're a pitcher on baseball or you're the starting guard on the best team in basketball, you make a mistake. If you don't get over that hump, it'll come back to haunt you constantly. It'll constantly come back to haunt you. And if you don't do it right away, that's even more of a reason to for people to doubt you and stuff like that. He did it right away. And he showed up big time. He really proved himself. And you can tell how and he said it, he's happy, he's exuberant about it, but he's so focused on other aspects that outside of just being oh my God, I did it. That's a key to a lot of this. And he seems to have it early on.
Yeah. And as bad as that match was, it might have only helped him for Star Wars. It might have literally been the little match that stoked the flame to get his fearsomeness in gear. And because who knows if it would have been just a close normal match, it could have just ended up being oh, okay, good match, blah blah blah, all right, Star Wars tournament. But he wanted to prove himself. He wanted to come out, show up for his faction. He had something to prove. That match only made him more deadly.
Yeah, and Roxy said it for Josh afterwards of this match. She said, "Sometimes to win, you need to lose," and that's exactly what happened for him. So yeah, we're not gonna. This will probably be a much shorter show than normal, guys. We're just gonna preview very quickly the Kelly Sullivan match that comes up this week. We talked about it with Ace a little bit, but yeah, this is really this is really a heavyweight match. It really is. And we've only seen them each a couple times, Sean being once this year. We haven't seen Laura since Spectacular last year. And she played very, very well up against Alex Damon. She beat Andrew Dimolanta to get into that match. But we haven't seen her since. And Sullivan has a little bit more practice under his belt just because he's been inside the match the last couple months. But I don't think that has anything to do with it, because if you look on Twitter, if you follow Laura and her podcast with one of her best friends, as Force Toast, this girl knows her stuff. We know what Sean knows. We were able to talk to Sean after his match, and he was able to kind of break it down for us. And he's only had that much more time since then to really study and break this down. It's going to be a really, really exciting match.
Yeah. People are not giving Sean, I think, enough credit where credit is due. He's newer, so I feel like that's kind of all these new players everyone's kind of tossing to the side. New players are sometimes the most deadly. And
especially this year.
Yes. And the second you sleep on a new player, they will take you out. Now, Laura Kelly is terrifying. She is an absolute, no pun intended, but yes, pun intended, an absolute force to reckon with. And I'll never forget watching the Damon match with her and going, holy you know what? She might beat him. And that, if you even are able to plant that seed of doubt in someone's mind, that's terrifying. And if fans, I know there's people other than me that thought that same thing, that holy crap, like she could take him out. That's why she's scary, and that's why people are flocking to her for this win. So, I mean, this one, like we've been saying, is an absolute coin toss, because you've got the newness factor of Sullivan. You don't really know very much about his strengths and weaknesses. He had one studio match, and that's it. I mean, you can't really get too much off that one match. Plus, it was his first match ever. I mean, we know how first matches ever play out. A lot of the times they end up losing because it's just so new. He won his against Adam Witt.
Yeah.
So for people to write him off, I don't think you should be writing him off. But at the same time, I can see where they're coming from with Laura Kelly, because she is a bad mamma jamma, and you don't want to mess with her too.
Yeah, and that's a perfect segue, because it is official. Next week we will be joined by Laura Kelly on the show. She will be joining us next Monday, and that is win or lose. What happens this Wednesday? She will be joining us to discuss that match and everything with Force Toast and everything she's got going on, how she's handled being involved with a faction for the first time and having a manager, because that obviously plays a huge factor into it. And we've seen what the backup is like on Twitter. If you guys are not following either Laura, Sean, Shannon, or even Sean's girlfriend Jill on Twitter, the back and forth has been incredible, and it's been so fun to watch and just read all these tweets. And we always from our Twitter, we always post a GIF to kind of fuel the fire a little bit more, which is always fun.
Excuse me. This side. This one sits here and does this.
100%. It's awesome. It's so fun. It is absolutely so fun.
Should I do this? And I'm like, I don't know. And then it's like all hell breaks loose.
It's just a simple GIF. I did it with with Smets and Brad a few weeks ago. I did it with Laura, Shannon, and Jill and Sean this past week. So if you guys are not like, the build up has been incredible. It's so fun to watch, and that's why the Schmoedown is like at its height right now in 2020. Even though it's virtual, it's working so perfectly, and it's a very exciting time because not only do we have Schmoedown matches, but everything involved with social media, and we talked about the promos with Ace. It's all just a great culmination of like what this league really is and how it's grown. It's been such a great time to not just talk about it as commentators, but watch it and read it as fans.
Yeah, I mean, we obviously love our studio matches. That's the bread and butter. That's the gold. But if I'm gonna say,
we talked about it with the exhibitions. We talked about it.
Yeah, the exhibitions are fantastic. But one of the kind of good things to come out of this whole thing is the fact that these people are not seeing each other as much. So, excuse my language, the shit talk kind of is a little bit more than regular because you kind of like it's Twitter fingers is so much easier than just a face-to-face.
Well, and adding to that, they're not playing face in the camera and then off camera being friends because they're not seeing each other. It's literally character 24/7 against one another.
Exactly.
They're not tweeting at each other and then texting on the side. They're just tweeting at each other.
Yeah. So
which is amazing.
I will say the quarantine, it sucks for Schmoedown, but this has given
there's been its
that
pros.
Side of it, it's perks because people are, and myself included, yourself included, are eating up the trash talk. It's honestly, it hypes the matches to probably levels that they probably wouldn't reach at. I mean, fans are fully into this crap talking that's going on between Shannon, Kate, Sean, Laura, everyone. And it seems like every day someone's saying something new. I mean, we got Kate this morning with her jab back at Shannon. So I will say the plus side of this whole thing is we see how well these exhibition matches, this online type format is working. It's giving us more of an outlet with Twitter and the Facebook groups and stuff like that. So there are its plus sides and it hypes up these matches. I'm honestly not going to be surprised if this match on Wednesday, probably 2,000 people are watching it.
Yeah, I think so too.
It's incredible, and it's only going to get more larger than what it's at right now, and it's so awesome. It's 100%. Awesome.
I could not agree with you more. So, guys, that's going to wrap up the show today.
Do you want faction standings?
Oh, you're right. Good call. Here, I'm going to put the image up, and you go ahead and read them off, Brian.
Oh, look at you. You have the image up, an image. So with the Aces match against Josh Quevedo, we have a little bit, well, shouldn't be a little bit. We have a new second place standing. So in first place, we have the Finstock Exchange sitting there with 16 points. Second place is now in sole possession of Swag with 13 points. The Den is sitting in third place with 12 points. In fourth place, we have the Burning Droogs at 6 points. Rockstars are sitting in fifth place with 6 points. The Usual Suspects sitting in sixth place with 4 points. The Dungeon is sitting in seventh place with 4 points. The Corky Mercs are in eighth place with 3 points. And Corruption is sitting in ninth place with 2 points. And so that means we're looking at the the third place and the ninth place team coming up with that next match. So there will be some shifts. Either someone's going to come out of last place, or we could see a possible third place going back into taking that second place spot.
Yeah, it's the opportunity for the Den to get right back at Swag. But a lot of people have been saying they're predicting that Corruption, this is where they flip the tables on everybody. And we have a lot to see. Obviously, Laura Kelly's the start of it. We have Chance and Mike in the IG tournament. But this could be the beginning of Corruption's rise, if you will, to getting back on their feet, and being the prominent faction that they have been in the past. So it's gonna be a very exciting couple weeks. And for the next, I believe, just this week is the last week with just Star Wars. The following week we get Star Wars and IG, and that leads us into our discussions, guys, because last week we attempted something and we tried it and it worked out very well. We did a live breakdown of the match on Thursday afternoon here on the channel. That is Pacific time. We are on the West Coast. So it was around the 4:30 time. And because it went so well, and we had some viewers and people were commenting and talking along with us, we're going to be doing that from now on each week. On Thursdays around 4:30, that's kind of the time that works out best for us after work and everything. Pacific time, you are correct. We're going to be getting on the cameras and doing a live match breakdown. This week will be Star Wars. When IG comes along, we will figure out a time for that as well. But it's a great way to discuss the match and really break it down question by question, point by point, and kind of what happened and interact with you guys on top of just the main show, because we're not going to be doing actual reactions. This is our substitute to that. And so it allows us to talk about it, and we had a great time doing it last week. And thank you guys for watching and who did. But make sure you guys tune in on Thursdays around 4:30 Pacific time here on the channel live. It also goes live on Twitter. We're going live on Twitter. So if you just follow our Twitter page right there above Brian Schmodown POV, you'll be able to watch it. Yeah, you had it right. It's right there, Schmodown POV.
Well,
you'll be able to watch it. You'll be able to watch it live on Twitter as well. So it's on YouTube and Twitter, 4:30 p.m. Pacific time. And we would love for you guys to join us. And that'll be continuing. And as I mentioned, we will figure out a slot for the IG one on top of our main show going forward. So hopefully we'll be able to do that each week, because that was an absolute blast to do that last week. We had a lot of good comments and kind of get it out of the way, good conversation, and it's also good for fans because shows don't come out until later on a couple days, and this is directly after the match.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun and a lot of people, a lot of interaction, and that's why we're gonna do it, because now we get to talk to more people about it, and that's what makes it fun.
Yes. All right, guys. Well, that is the official wrap up of A Certain Point of View this week. We covered a lot today, and we had a great conversation with Ace Cabrera. We can't thank him enough for joining us. That was an absolute blast. One of the better guests we've had as far as conversation and just interaction. He was an absolute joy to talk to. Make sure you guys follow us, not just on YouTube if you're watching this on YouTube, but you can see it all above Brian right there. Twitter, Anchor, Apple, Spotify. We are on podcast platforms, guys. I wasn't able to put up our match breakdown this week for the Star Wars match up on audio, but I will do that going forward for those matches. I'll be able to download it and then upload it to all the audio platforms. So that's just search A Certain Point of View or A Certain Point of View Schmodown podcast. It'll pop right up. On Twitter, we're at Schmodown POV. As I mentioned earlier, we are going to have Laura Kelly with us next week, talking her match and everything going on as far as Star Wars with her. And we will do the rapid fire, which worked out really well, which was a lot of fun. We'll do that with Laura as well. So again, thank you for joining us. For Brian, for myself, we are A Certain Point of View, and we will see you guys next week.